We turn now to a strange story out of Arizona involving a retreat run by a wealthy Buddhist monk who claims to use the principles of yoga and deep meditation in the quest for enlightenment. But when one young couple's spiritual journey led to troubling questions and a tragic death, ABC's Dan Harris went looking for answers.
The highway to enlightenment runs right through this desolate patch of Arizona desert, according to the controversial spiritual leader, Michael Roach.
Hi, this is Geshe Michael Roach with Mirashani.
But these two followers of Roach, a married couple seen here in happier days promoting their yoga book.
So this is Ian.
This is Lama Christie.
They did not find enlightenment out in the desert. Instead, as they and 39 other people hugged their families goodbye on this Saturday morning in December 2010 and entered into a 3-year silent meditation retreat, as seen in this video on the retreat website, what Ian Thorson and Christy McNally actually encountered was something entirely unexpected, a mysterious descent into the darkness that would change their lives forever.
What was it like for you to watch your son get sucked up into this world?
It was frightening.
This story starts more than a decade ago when Ian, then a recent graduate of Stanford, found his way into the orbit of the charismatic Michael Roach, a Princeton graduate who had made millions in the diamond business and become a Buddhist monk. Right away, Ian's mother and sister say they were suspicious.
He always just seemed a little creepy to me.
So your first impression was?
Creepy.
And it didn't change?
No.
He promised the highway to enlightenment in one lifetime.
What is he asking for in return?
Total dedication.
In your view, is Michael's group a cult?
Yes.
Roach is a highly trained monk in the same tradition as the Dalai Lama. However, in recent years, the Dalai Lama and other Buddhists have been highly critical of and even embarrassed by some of Roach's decisions, like living with women, growing out his hair, and building a global following of adoring acolytes. Under the sway of Roach, Ian Thorson changed dramatically, according to his family.
He was not his own person anymore.
Did you feel like you were losing him?
Of course.
He was totally changed. Like, even his hugs weren't hugs. Like, they were like shells of hugs.
The family called in cult deprogrammers to work with Ian, but he ultimately returned to Michael Roach's group. In 2010, Ian married Christy McNally. This was a tricky romantic decision for him, since Christy was formerly Michael Roach's spiritual companion. She and Roach were even profiled in the New York Times, talking about how they lived together in a yurt for years and were never more than 15 feet apart at all times. When she left him for the younger Ian Thorson, Roach was reported in one gossip page to have been distraught, dropping his monk's robes for Armani suits and hitting the clubs with younger women. In Christy's new relationship with Ian, she continued some aspects of that extreme intimacy. They ate out of the same bowl, read the same books at the same time,
and then one person will arch back.
And even did yoga together.
Once we do this kind of yoga together, then the next day when we try to do like a series alone, it's really, really lonely actually.
It's lonely.
Yeah.
In 2010, Ian and Christy went off for that retreat at Roach's quote-unquote university in the remote Arizona desert. 3 years, 3 months, and 3 days of silent meditation. A year and a half in, though, the couple was asked to leave. According to this letter from Michael Roach, Christy and Ian were the subject of a mutual spousal abuse investigation after a medical practitioner at the university allegedly treated Ian for 3 stab wounds inflicted by Christy, who claimed it was an accident that happened when she was playing with a knife. Eager to continue their spiritual quest, their journey toward enlightenment, the couple went to live in this cave in the desert nearby, where they lived off of donated food and drank rainwater.
I think it was a couple of people that thought they could live off the land, and they made a huge mistake.
After several months, something went very wrong. Christy called in an emergency. When crews arrived, Ian was dead, apparently from exposure and dehydration. Police do not suspect foul play.
When and how did you get the news that he had died?
With a knock on the door. I was, of course, shocked. I'm still in shock.
You're in shock. So do you think Michael put your son in a dangerous position by kicking him out of that retreat?
Absolutely.
Ian's mom says Michael Roach's allegations of spousal abuse are exaggerated and that her son's death would not have happened if Roach had not asked the couple to leave.
Getting them geared up for this retreat and then kicking them off is kind of setting people up for a problem.
Roach insists he took the right precautions, offering Ian and Christy money, an assistant, and a rental car to ease their transition. He says they refused the help and refused to tell anybody that they were heading into the desert alone. He says he's deeply sorry for Ian's family's loss, but Ian's mother says this case should be a wake-up call for parents about the dangers of groups like Roach's, which she maintains is a cult.
Do you hope something good would come out of this?
Well, there's nothing good for me personally that can come out of this because it's, you know, my son is dead. I certainly would not want this to happen to someone else.
This weekend, Michael Roach, who refused to grant us an interview, is holding a seminar on reaching enlightenment, a goal his one-time follower, Ian Thorson, will now, in this lifetime at least, never reach. For Nightline, this is Dan Harris in New York.